Hello, everybody, and welcome back. This is the Price to Sell podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Campoli. Today, we have a really amazing guest. We have the incredibly dynamic and super successful Sehr from MyCondoSource. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Matt. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Yeah, no problem. You've actually been requested a couple times. So,
amazing.
Well known. I'm sure a lot of people already know who you are, but if they don't, they're about to learn. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you have an amazing story, and your time in the business and what you've been able to achieve is just incredible. So I wanted to give you some kudos for that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So let's get a little bit into like a bit of your background, your bio, how you started, how real estate became a thing for you, and go from there.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been doing real estate for about 10 years now. I moved here as an immigrant. So I came with no family, came by myself for school. Graduated in finance in the midst of the financial crisis. So 2008, got my degree in finance. As you can imagine, there was no banks banging on my door saying, Sehr, can we give you a job?
Yeah.
And I was kind of like lost for about 2 years, and I didn't know what to do with my life. And, to be honest, I got into real estate because it's an easy industry to get into. So it wasn't like I moved here to Canada and said, I'm going to become a licensed realtor and that's my passion. It was kind of like I saw other people doing it. I'm like, you know what? I've spent $80,000 being an international student here. I'm in debt right now. What can I do that's not going to be so expensive? And what's got an easier barrier to entry? Mm-hmm. I got into it. I had no database, nothing. And I said, you know what? I can't fail now. Like, this is it. So because I had no database, I said, what do I do now? So my brokerage said the best way to start is by doing rentals. And that's what I did. Except when you don't know many people, where do you start? I was able to successfully do 120 rentals that's my first year.
Yeah.
But I had no listings. I was doing the tenant side. Mm-hmm. And the way that I did that was I was calling other realtors and said, hey, can I advertise your listings? Mm-hmm. Putting an ad up, literally at that time, there was no Facebook Marketplace, on Kijiji. And setting up open houses on rentals.
Yeah.
So every single day from 5 to 7, I would have an open house and a rental. So banging out pretty much a deal a day.
So you're just booking the showing from 5 to 7?
Yeah. And I would put up an ad.
Yeah.
I would have 20 people show up there and somebody would take the unit.
Interesting.
And I would do multiple offers on the rental. So like the listing agent would say, how do you have 3 people for my unit? And
yeah.
So that's kind of how I got started. Now, obviously that wasn't my end goal. After 1 year, my broker of record was like, what is going on here? I said, how can I change my business? I got introduced to pre-construction because I was so good with the rentals that some of the agents who had the listings, I would ask them, how do you have 6 or 7 listings in the same building? It's because I was so active with rentals, and I said, there was a building 65 East Liberty, and the same agent had 4 units on the same floor. I said, hey, can you tell me like how that's possible? He goes, because I sell pre-construction. Yes. And I said, what does that mean? I had no idea what that world even was.
Yeah.
So I went to a sales event with him one day and I watched and I said, you know what? I can do this. And he's like, but do you have clients? And I said, I'm going to find them. Now, the great thing about the rentals was I built up a great database. To do 120 rentals, I'm going to say that I probably met 600 to 700 people whose now names, numbers, and emails I had.
Yeah. So from the beginning, you saved them all.
Yeah.
Nice.
So from the beginning, I saved them all. I would say that's the number one tip of being a new agent. You have to get a CRM and be very organized with that. Mm-hmm. So I would tap into that list and I started calling people and I said, you know what? Like, these are people who are looking to rent. They're not in a position to buy today. But what a lot of people didn't know about pre-construction was that you don't need that upfront 20% down right now. You don't need those closing costs right now. You can actually get deals at 5% a year. We have that even right now. And a lot of people, when you say $600 at that time, $500,000, $600,000 purchase price, and you can be in the market 4 years from now, once you build up your credit history, your job experience, and so forth, and now at that time you can qualify for a mortgage, it actually was a very viable option for them. Because, if they're putting down 5% a year, even let's say 10%, in the first year, could they come up with $150K right up front? No, but can they come up with $30,000 to $40,000 a year from their savings? A lot of them could.
Yeah.
So within 3 to 4 years, they were like, you know what, I can put down a 15 to 20% down payment, save for the next 4 years for my closing costs. And that's how I got them all into pre-con. So all my first year, most of my clients were my tenants.
Became
or
your buyers.
brothers of theirs, sisters,
Yes.
mother, father, people that they knew.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the database that I was really, really able to tap into. And the beauty of doing the rentals was I got to know all the buildings downtown
Yes.
really, really well. Got to know how to deal with a lot of people on different levels. So it was really great experience. I would definitely encourage all new agents to like tap into that and really like, you know, accelerate their skills.
Yeah. So now with pre-con, what was the moment when, let's just say, maybe you did several pre-con deals or the first ever launch where you successfully were able to get some worksheets accepted? What was the moment that you're like, okay, this is the route I'm focusing on, and that's it?
So it was that same first weekend where I went with that other agent to the sales event, and they said, do you have any clients? And I said, I'm going to find some. I did 7 deals that one weekend.
Wow.
And I said to myself, like, this is an industry that's very scalable, very fast. So I think the misconception that people have is that, you know what, I'm going to get into real estate and it's going to take me years and years to like build up my business. It's not like that with pre-construction, because you can scale and you're selling off floor plans.
Yeah.
You know, to do 7 sales in the resale world could take up, I don't know, 2 months of your time.
Yeah.
Maybe even more for some people, right?
Yeah.
Pre-construction, literally you could do 7, 8 sales one weekend. So when I saw that, I'm like, this is a, you know, part of the business, a niche that's very scalable, very, very fast. So it excited me. You know, there's no emotion involved in pre-construction. It's all about numbers. I had a finance degree, so I'm a numbers person.
Yes, that helps.
I love that, you know?
And you said something interesting when we spoke earlier. You said you did, for the 100 plus leases you did the first year, then you ended up doing 100 plus pre-con deals next year. You worked way harder for the leases.
I worked
to make a
way
fraction.
harder for the leases to make 1 digit less on my paychecks, you know?
Legit.
So I mean, that's what I'm saying. With leases, you still have to physically go to the buildings and show them and so forth. With pre-construction, it's very fast-paced because I know within 48 hours if you're buying or not.
Yeah.
In resale, you know, sometimes I hear stories from like my colleagues that they're driving somebody around for a month who then say, oh, we decided to not move now, or we've decided we're getting married, we're going to Florida, you know, they change their mind. But with pre-construction, I find that, you know, I talk to a lot of people on scale, but like I know very quickly whether they're moving forward or not.
It's true. So, okay, let's dig into that a little bit. What are some clues you look for to like maybe vet some pre-con leads? Because there are a lot of tire kickers, right? So what would be some things you'd look for in a potential client? Like, okay, this person's serious, let's continue.
So the first thing that we've done right now is we have a video that's actually on YouTube that I'm going to send you the link that they have to watch before they even speak to me.
Oh,
so I want to make sure that they've gone through that intro video of how to buy pre-construction.
Okay.
So they kind of know the process. I want to make sure they've spent that time so that they understand deposit structures, what incentives mean, and so forth before they even come. And, you know, to be really, really honest, in the past 4 years, the market's been very, very hot. So we hadn't had to deal with those tire kickers effectively, because every single project you have 20 to 30 worksheets, but you're only getting 7 to 8 units.
Yeah.
So it's been very easy to kind of like take over the person that's, you know, more enthusiastic. It's not been so much convincing. It's more about like, who should I give this unit to, because the market was hot.
Yeah.
The one thing that we do in pre-construction to really weed worksheets out is we actually collect within my team a bank draft in advance of the project. So I don't wait till after the project's launched to get that bank draft. I want to know that if you're, you know, serious, to drop your bank draft to my office in advance. And then once the pricing and plans come out, that's when we kind of like just narrow down their selection.
Yes.
So that's another measure we've kind of like put into place. So
you
usually find that, you know, because a check means nothing, but they have to go to the bank. It's like a draft is like cash. They have to bring it to you. It's a little bit more serious. It's not certain, but it's more serious.
It's an effort.
Yeah, it's an effort.
Yeah, they're showing some sort of seriousness
exactly.
for sure.
And then once they've given you that bank draft, they're probably not talking to 10 other people, because with online leads, they're talking to everybody.
They are.
But the likelihood of them making 7 different drafts to drop off to 7 agents, it's not very high. So that's another measure we kind of take to know who's serious in our developments.
Yeah, and I've done similar things when I've done like the pre-con I've discussed with you, where I've had people meet with me the week before, present, take everything, and then hand it in with the worksheet.
It's also a lot easier if they've already bought pre-constructions. That's another factor that we ask, like, have you purchased before? If so, where, when,
Yeah.
So if they're first time pre-construction investors, are usually more nervous. So then they have to watch that video that I'm speaking about for sure.
Smart.
Yeah.
Such a smart thing.
Yeah.
So simple too.
It's very simple.
Goes such a long way.
And it cuts down your time by like an hour, right?
Yeah.
So.
And so we need that time. Hey everyone, here to give some value as usual. I want to chat about my friends over at Design Loading because not only do they have immense experience in what they do, they offer a complete range of services. The team at Design Loading have designed and renovated over 50 homes in Toronto. It's a lot. They focus on quality and fast turnarounds. Design Loading specializes in complete renovations, condos, or homes. The services they offer are all done at the highest quality, and they include design, layout, and complete construction services. You'd probably think by now that their prices are outrageous, but they're really not. If you're looking for a team that can help you from designing to building, they are now offering free estimates. And we all know you guys love free. So just head to their website and contact them via email or give them a call. Both options will be linked in our description as well. You can also check them out and some of their work on their website, www.design-loading.com, or check out their Instagram at design.loading. Remember to head to the website for a free quote or estimate and connect with the team at Design Loading. Now let's get back to the show. I want to dig into so your second year now. So you've woken up to this whole world of pre-con. You did that first launch, 7 deals on your first exposure.
First weekend.
Which is insane. And then you said you went on to do 100 plus in your second year of real estate with pre-con deals. So how did you, because, there's the platinum access out there, we call platinum agents, where they have a rapport with the builders, they have the access. Because my first experience with pre-con was Icona. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
In Vaughan?
Yes.
Okay. And it was my first year in real estate. And I was a barber before I started in real estate. So I had a very big network. And I had 7 worksheets.
Yeah.
And I just put them into the portal. And I'm like, sick. I'm running the numbers on my phone. I'm like, wow, I could potentially make XX, And I never got a call. And I realized really quickly that just as a regular guy, I was not getting any access because there's the relationships they have with the platinum brokers, right? So how did you start to build these relationships, or how did you start to gain access to different projects? Because each project is a different developer.
Yes. So that's a great question. So that first weekend, I actually had to collaborate with that platinum agent that I'm talking about.
Yes.
I shared my commission with them. I said, listen, you have the access. Let me bring in the buyers. So I did do that in my first project. However, in 2015, the market was actually nothing like it is right now. It was pretty slow. So when I started in 2015, I was lucky. I didn't start in a hot market. At that time, the builders actually needed help. So I was actually working their leftover inventory, the stuff that other people don't want to sell. And I started to focus on one project at a time and do very large volume in that project. So I remember my first big project was City Lights on Broadway. And then I picked another one also in the same area, which was at Yonge and Eglinton. It was called 150 Redpath.
Oh, Redpath,
and I did 25 deals in both the sites each. So what ends up happening is that if you do when you do 5 or 6 deals, nobody cares. Okay, the builders don't care. When you start pumping out 24 deals in a site, they all start to get to know about you. So what ended up happening was it was a slow market. I was doing a lot of leftover inventory for these developers. And then people started talking. They started calling me and they said, hey, we heard that you did X amount of deals at this project. Can you come and help us with ours?
Interesting.
So it was a little bit different of a time. It was kind of like now.
Yeah, I was going to say, now could be the time.
Now is that time.
Yeah.
Because you're right. In the last 4 years, if you didn't have those relationships set up, it was very, very tough to get units unless you co-op with a platinum agent.
Yeah.
Now we're back to my 2015 days where you can walk into a sales office, sit down with your client, you have that time. You don't need a platinum agent anymore to get yourself in the door. There's lots of units available on the hot list. So this is the perfect time for people to get into pre-construction if they don't have that access because it's a slower market.
Yeah.
And this is only in the last 30 days that it's become slower.
It's true.
So this is the time.
And I actually met you yesterday.
Yeah.
Before this at a launch.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how this one goes too.
Yes.
So now let's just using this market as an example, and you're a 2015 year. How are you getting those 50 clients? Are you marketing online? Are you just really hitting the database consistently?
So Yeah. So my first project, which was the end of 2014, it was all my rental clients, like I said. 2015, I was kind of doing, in the first 2 months, I was kind of doing the same, hitting up my database of those 500 people that I'd met. And then after that, once my first installment started coming in from the 2014 deals, I'm like, you know what, let me start doing a little bit of marketing. I think the one thing that a lot of like first year agents, they don't want to spend any money. I wasn't scared about spending money at that time. Like I wasn't going crazy with like hundreds and thousands of dollars, but like I was like, you know what, let me invest back in my business. So I kind of already had that vision, like to make money, you have to spend money. So I did do advertising, I'd say within the first 4 months of getting into the pre-construction industry, and it worked out really, really well.
And are you doing like, is that like through a website and running like ads on Facebook or Google, or
I wasn't doing
physical marketing?
I wasn't doing Facebook. I was doing pretty much just Google ads at that time. And then, sending email blasts within my database as well. So. And
as you're doing the lead gen or the ads online, you're building the database even more.
Yeah.
Right.
Now I have like a huge database because now I put a lot of money back into marketing.
Yeah.
But at that time, I mean, I was still doing, on a much smaller scale, but the returns were great. And I saw that. And I actually had a business coach at that time. By the way, that's another tip that I would say, like it's very important to get a coach or a mentor, so to speak, when you're new. Because when you're new, you have no idea what to do. So.
Yeah. And was this business coach like cater to pre-con, or
no,
did they understand?
So I actually got into the Mike Ferry coaching program, which is all resale training. But what they kept on saying was, to make cold calls and do all that kind of stuff.
I did it too, yeah.
And I was like, no, I want to do online marketing. And they kept on saying, no, you shouldn't be spending money. You should be making cold calls and getting lists and
2%
stuff.
2% conversion rate.
Yeah. And I have found, and I've had this number consistent my entire business, that I'm 10xing my return on advertising.
Interesting.
Which is an amazing return.
Huge.
So, I actually left that coaching program I did it for a year, and I left because my coach and I just weren't seeing on the same eye. I said, you can make 7 digits by spending only this much. Why would I not do that? So, yeah.
And then how did MyCondoSource come to be, that name?
So I was following a lot of top agents. I was, in the beginning, I wanted to do everything by myself. I said, I don't want to share my commission with anybody. I don't want to give anything up. I started to hit a wall when I was doing 200 deals a year on my own consistently. I said, you know what? I can't seem to scale past this number. So I said, let me build out a team. I was following a lot of other Platinum agents, and they all had teams. And the names were like somewhat similar.
Yeah.
My condo something, condo something. So I was like, let me just come up with a name. So I came up with the name MyCondoSource. And then in 2019, actually, so not that long ago, I started growing out a team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now?
And I wanted to build a brand because I don't want it to be just me,
Yeah.
So if my team is called the Sehr team or the Sehr Mahmood team, then what ends up happening is everybody wants to talk to me.
Yeah.
I wanted to take away from that and have a generic brand name so that my agents on the team can have the same, caliber reputation, so to speak. So it's not like everybody's like, let me talk to Sehr. No, they should be able to talk to any of the team members and feel like they're getting that same value.
Yeah. No, I think that's huge. I'm a big advocate for that.
Yeah.
Kind of off the name team.
Yes.
First, last name team.
Yes.
And then everyone who joins
otherwise it'll always be about me, and I don't want it to be that.
Exactly. And then your team members have to take on your identity, or like for resale, it's like put that the team leader's face on their signs.
Yes.
For their listings. I mean, some people are okay with it. Some, don't get me wrong, a lot of teams do amazing like that. But I feel like we're a little newer school now.
Yeah.
Times are changing a bit.
And I also think the new generation, the millennials, they don't want to be under like a name.
No,
like they want to
don't.
feel like it's bigger than me,
Exactly.
So I wanted to be able to let them have that.
That's awesome. And you did 450 last year.
Last year was a huge year. I did 450 deals.
That's insane.
With, pretty much brand new agents.
Yeah.
So it was commendable. The market was amazing. The market's shifting now this year. So now this year is more about, last year was a lot of order taking.
Yep.
So I found that a lot of agents were becoming realtors because it was an easy market.
Definitely.
This is the year where you actually need skill. So I've been telling my agents, this is the year where you show who's boss.
For sure.
The most important thing I would tell agents is you have to practice, whether you're a resale agent and you're doing listings, or you're a pre-construction agent, you're selling developments. You have to role play and practice. This morning, like me and my team were practicing the design district launch that we were at yesterday.
Yep.
Like, how do you speak to clients? How do you manage objections? Everybody has the same exact question right now. It's like, oh, interest rates have gone up or market's crashing. So, I train my team and I say, you want them to ask those questions because you have your answers prepared. And now you can showcase that you're the expert, and that's what's going to separate you from all the other agents.
Yes. So let's talk about that now too, like this current market, because pre-con, these developers and these builders are maybe planning out their pricing a little bit beforehand. Obviously, they're adjusting a little bit before launch day, but we're in a shifting market right now, right? And, there's news of maybe another interest hike in September. So I'm sure a lot of buyers have some sort of resistance to moving forward, right? So it's like, how do you go about this, especially for pre-con, because it's future pricing, right? Right now, the future's uncertain, or people want to think, but real estate always long-term is great, right? So how do you guys go about handling those kinds of objections and making people more comfortable with the times we're in?
Well, it comes down to like really educating them that real estate is not like day trading, When you're buying pre-construction, you're actually buying easily 4 to 5 years, if not more, into the future. So what's happening with interest rates in the last 30 days, or what might continue to happen for 6 months or 8 months or even a year, doesn't affect your investment 5 years from now. And that's the beauty of pre-construction, because if you look at the history of investing in the Toronto market over the last 50 years, yes, maybe you have some dips here and there, but in general, it's a very stable market and prices are only going up. If you could, today tell somebody, would you want a unit at 2017 pricing? It's a give me 5, right? Yeah. So I tell people, don't worry about what's happening today. In 2026, 2027, 2028, you're going to be very happy that you still bought today. I think this market is the best time to buy pre-construction. And the reason being is that even up to 6 months ago, a lot of people, couldn't get into the development of their choice because it's so competitive, like you said.
Very true.
The example that you gave for Icona, for example, where you had all these worksheets and you couldn't get your buyers in. Yeah. Right? That was the same case last year, earlier this year. There was many agents whose clients were disappointed they couldn't get in. Now is the time where you can get in. It's not that the market's completely dead. They're still selling, but they're selling at a slower rate. You have more chance to actually pick the unit that you want on the floor ranges that you want. So why would you not buy what you can get into now? So before, someone would say, I want a 1+ den at 1 Jarvis, which was the last development by Emblem. And you would be like, oh, I'm sorry, there's no 1+ dens, but here's the 3-bedroom.
Yeah, right.
And it was like, take it or leave it. You have 5 minutes to give me back an answer. Literally, it was a 5-minute market where if you don't give me an answer in 5 minutes, somebody else will. Yeah. Now they don't have that kind of pressure. This is the time to purchase, where you can say, I want this floor plan within the 10th to 15th floor. And your chance of getting that is probably a lot higher than it was 6 months ago. And you're going to have that asset 5 years in the future. And
you have your hands on a good asset.
Yes.
That majority of people would have wanted last year. Like, I think, especially like, let's say you want to assign something. You might have that south view. You might have that higher floor or that parking spot.
You have, exactly, and you have the better incentives that are being offered. So I'm seeing more and more builders stretch out their deposit structure a lot more than we saw in the past few years. So it's become very attractive, even for, like I was saying, like first-time buyers who might not have that money to get in the market today with 20% down, or who might not be able to handle those interest rate payments. Yes. Now they can buy pre-construction, save up for closing costs, save up the staggered deposit structure, build up their credit history so they can actually qualify for a mortgage, and have equity built into the property as you go forward. So prices are high, sure, but if you take an expensive 1-bedroom or 1+ den in downtown Toronto, sure, 800,000, let's say, right? Let's say they put down 10% that first year, it's $80,000. The real estate market historically has been rising 12.1% over the past 10 years. Let's just say it's 8%. Let's be conservative, right? It's still going to be worth $864,000 a year from now. you made a return of 80% on your investment. You only put down 10% that first year. The second year, let's say it's another 5%.
Yeah.
Now your returns become 57.5 because you put 120,000 on that $800,000 condo. But in 4 years is where you really see that return, because your $800,000 condo at 8% interest rate per year is now worth $1,088,000. But you've only put down $160K. You're not putting down $800,000. So your cash on cash return is 180%. You can't make those returns in any other industry. So the beauty of pre-construction is that, you know, even for resale agents, I tell them, for resale agents, you have to wait till your clients want to move. You know, if they bought a house today, they're probably not buying for another 10 years. But they can definitely take out the equity they're building and buy into pre-construction. So it's another avenue of investing, you know. So and for realtors, it's another avenue to increase their business, and for your clients to gain equity. And you don't have to go through the whole mortgage approval process too, which is comforting, because a lot of people either can't right now or they just started their business. They have nothing to show for the next 2 years. So something like this is perfect for people like that, right? Right. And it's, you know, it's not volatile like stocks and Bitcoin and like all these, you know, avenues of investing that are like the Wild West, like cryptocurrency, where like one day it's worth $1 million, the next day it's tanking. Like real estate's a very safe investment. And there's so many factors in our industry that, you know, tell me that even if things are slow today, it's not going to stay like this. Like, we have a backlog of 1.8 million people who are slated to come into the country over the next 3 years. I mean, that's not a joke. 55% of those are coming to the GTA. These are people coming with capital. They're coming, they're going to be, you know, have good jobs and so forth. So it's really going to elevate our economy. So, I mean, when you think about that, when you think about the fact that there's a new law coming into place for inclusionary zoning, I'm not sure if you're aware of that, but later this year, in Toronto, all the new pre-construction developments that are going to come to fruition have to allocate 7 to 10% of their inventory towards affordable housing. That number in the next few years might rise up to 20%. So what that means is that the developers have to discount that percentage of their building, right, to the lower income and to people who qualify. But they're not going to, the margins are already thin. They're not going to say, oh, no problem. They're just going to elevate the pricing for the remaining 80% of the building. So why is pre-construction good to buy now? Because pricing will never go backwards. If it was to go backwards, guess what's going to happen? Builders will just stop building. If they just stop building, again, you have a shortage of supply. Prices are going to go up. So I tell people, it's not about today. It's about think about what's coming in the future. 2024 development charges, there was an article just literally 3 days ago, are going to be $36,000 for 2 bedrooms, $18,000 for 1 bedroom. So, you know, when you see those caps today, uncapped or capped at that? But still. But like right now the caps are low. It's like $8,000 for 1 bedroom. You know, $12,000 for a 2 bedroom. When you see those higher caps, why would you not want to buy today when you have those lower development charges? You know that pricing is going to go up with this inclusionary zoning coming. So there's a lot of factors that tell me that today is still a good time to buy, which is what we educate our investors on. Interesting. So let's chat about the future. So like what do you like, where do you see, for example, maybe some Toronto pricing per square foot, or just the future of the pre-con world going? I mean, I still think that, you know, every year looks expensive, right? Like there was a time where we couldn't even fathom $1,000 a square foot. Now you're lucky if you can get into like the pre-construction market in Toronto is easily at $1,700-$1,800 a square foot. We couldn't even picture that 3 years ago. I know. I remember when the wall came out, $1,500. I was like, oh, that's a lot. Now. But then a year passes and you're like, oh, that was a good deal. Very good deal. So, I mean, we have to think about where is Toronto as a global city. We're global leaders in healthcare, artificial intelligence, technology. Toronto actually had 80,000 jobs just last 12 months alone, which is higher than New York, Seattle, Boston combined. So there's a lot of talent that's coming into this market, you know. So you have those tenants with higher rents. You have these people with good jobs who want to purchase. Like I said, the backlog of immigration. So it's all of these factors are going to keep elevating pricing. And we're still cheap when you compare to other major cities like London, New York, you know, and so forth. We're not expensive compared to them. I just came back from England and it's like the prices there are like insane. Really? So I think there's still a lot of room for growth in the Toronto market.
Oh, yeah. We have some of the most cranes, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's going to be an interesting time. I think you brought up some amazing points and value here. We are approaching the end here. I can go all day with you. But clearly, how you speak and your knowledge speaks for your success.
Thank you.
Again, I want to give you kudos on that because you're achieving some great things. For all of your new fans out there, where can they find you?
On my Instagram, you can follow me at MyCondoSource. That's my handle. Or you can find me on Facebook under MyCondoSource and under my own personal name as well, Sehr Mahmood. And I have my own personal account on Instagram as well, which is Sehr_MCS.
Awesome. And if any of you guys want guaranteed access, reach out to her.
Yeah.
She can guaranteed get you a unit. But we'll post all your links in our bio and everything too.
Or if you're an agent watching and you're looking to get into pre-construction and you want to make that a part of your business, feel free to reach out as well.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That could be a very good option. All right, my friends. Well, thank you as always for listening. This is the Price to Sell podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Tell your friends, family, and your pet chipmunk. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace.